Hey guys, this is Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under, and today I have a gameplay overview of Last Man Standing, a free-to-play battle royale game. It's fairly obvious what Last Man Standing is trying to go and do. It's trying to go and replicate the success of H1Z1 and PLAYERUNKNOWN'S Battlegrounds and go and distribute it through a free-to-play format. Now, would I go and say that Last Man Standing completely replicates the gameplay experience of the two titles I talked about before? 100% no. Think of Last Man Standing as a free-to-play, cut-down, simplified, extremely casual, easy-to-pick-up version of PLAYERUNKNOWN Battlegrounds or H1Z1. It's a game that you can just simply download and not especially care about, but just hop in and have some fun. And if you don't have the money to spend on the real game, then this version should do you well. Okay, so let's go and talk about the gameplay experience. Basically, when you spawn in, you'll be spawned in on a predetermined location. There is no parachuting in. You just go and get plopped on the ground, and most of the time, you're going to get spawned next to a building or a hut. Now, this is quite good because when you go in that building or hut, you're basically guaranteed to find an assault rifle, a submachine gun, and some armor. This game really takes away the emphasis of looting that the two big titles have, but instead the emphasis is on the gun battles, and you're bound to have at least one gun battle per match simply because it is so incredibly easy to go and find people, and everybody has gear. Everybody has weapons, everybody has painkillers and whatnot, everybody is geared up. Now, the reason why it's quite easy to go and find people is because, one, the map is really small, and two, 90 people spawned in at the start. On top of that, there is no vehicles, so if you want to go to point A to point B, you have to go and do it on foot. However, the thing with Last Man Standing is that most of the time you're going to be walking across barren fields. There is very few buildings, basically no cities. The closest thing to a city would be like 3 or 4 buildings kind of next to each other in a bit of a mini suburb. But most of the time you're going to be just walking through, shrubbage and whatnot. Maybe a few trees, maybe a little bit of a forest, maybe a few rocks, but a lot of the map is quite barren and quite open. A lot of people, what they will do is if they see an enemy about 100 meters away on a barren field, they will go and take a pot shot. That pot shot might only do 10 to 20 damage or whatever, very low amount of damage. The enemy will go and heal up instantly because painkillers are OP. They run towards each other, and then in the end, someone will die and boom, another person knocked off the map. On top of that, there are supply crates that go and funnel people towards certain parts of the map even more. These supply crates will go and give, good sniper rifles, really good machine guns, and these weapons you can't go and find in buildings. The only weapons you find in buildings are like shotguns or assault rifles or submachine guns. And even though the assault rifles in this game are quite good and they do a ton of damage, you really want that really high quality gear by the end of the game in order to go and give yourself the best chance of winning. And on top of that, you have the circle. Now, for the first 10 minutes, you don't really have to go and worry about it. But after that, you really have to be watching behind you. You have to be watching your map because the circle will creep up on you really quickly. The reason why is because the devs have gone and stated, and it's publicized over the Steam page and whatnot, that the maximum game length will be 25 minutes, and it won't be basically anything longer than that, unless the last two people really stole it out. But it goes and closes so fast that you have to be really on your toes. I keep going back to the centralized theme that Last Man Standing is a very casual game as it goes and strips away hardcore elements. Well, another hardcore element that it goes and gets rid of completely is inventory management. In this game, you don't have to go and muck around with making space in your inventory because you can go and pick up basically an infinite amount of items. Now, of course, there is a cap of how many weapons you can go and equip. You can only go and equip 2, be it like an assault rifle, sniper rifle, 2 assault rifles, 2 submachine guns, whatever. You can only go and equip two weapons, but the amount of meds you can have, the amount of shields you can go and have, there is an infinite amount that you can go and fit in your non-existent backpack. Now, because your backpack is infinite, you would think that, the med items, the health recovery items won't be OP, but they are basically broken in this game. You can go and get like 50, 60 painkillers on you very easily, and these painkillers only take about 1.5 to, 1 second to go and administer, and they recover 1/3 of your HP. Now, on top of that, medkits, they recover all of your HP and they take no time. They're basically instant. So overall, this game is really wanting you to get right back into the action. Now let's quickly go and talk about the shooting and the movement mechanics, and overall it feels flimsy, it feels hollow, but it's what you would go and expect from a free-to-play game of this caliber, to be perfectly honest. It does the job. Recoil overall is basically non-existent. You get a little bit of feedback from the game whenever you go and shoot somebody for a hit marker. When you go and walk around, it feels like you're ice skating a lot of the time, but it works. I can't go and give too many props for it, but overall, it's not what you're playing the game for. You're playing the game more for the actual experience of the battle royale type of genre, rather than, you know, any superb shooting mechanics or movement mechanics or anything in between. Now let's go and talk about the graphics. Honestly, I think the graphics for this game are not obviously the best, but saying that, I have absolutely no complaints because the frame rate is really, really good. I'm running an older rig, it's about 5 years old, but I'm getting 100 frames per second, everything on low, while recording 1080p. It is all good in my opinion. If I look at a certain area, if I look at, you know, a very, very long distance away, it will go and, you know, drop a little bit. And so the frame rate is really consistent, like every battle royale game. And there will be some times where I'll drop to like 2 frames per second for about a second or two, and then it'll go back to, you know, about 100. But overall, I think the game is well optimized, probably because there's basically nothing on the map, a few buildings, a few trees, but basically just barren open areas, open plains. So obviously there isn't much to go and render. But with that said, the game looks nice for what it is, and there is no complaints because I'm playing this game simply because I want a free-to-play battle royale game, not because I want Crisis, not because I want, you know, next generation of gameplay mechanics and whatnot. And overall, this game goes and succeeds in what it's trying to go and accomplish. Now, to go and round out this review segment for this video, I want to go and talk about the customization of weapons and also the customization of your character. Now, for the customization of your weapon, you can go and pick up scopes, you can go and pick up different types of magazines and whatnot. There is a ton of customization of parts that you can go and pick up in-game. Now, these parts, they are kind of rare. You won't go and find them quite often. You only find them from like supply crates or, you know, are very rarely in a building and whatnot. But the fact that if you go and find like a holographic scope, you can go and put it on your weapon, I think that is really, really cool. Now, out of game, you can go and really customize the look of your character. You can change the hairstyle, you can change the face, you can go and change a ton of stuff. And that is honestly fairly decent. I wasn't expecting that level customization from a free-to-play game. And also, a ton of the stuff you go and get for free. For example, a ton of the hairstyles you go and get for free. And that is really, really, really good. But of course, the other stuff you have to go and pay for, and that's where the game is trying to go and make its money. Now, one problem that I do have is, will people actually go and buy the cosmetics for this game? Because if you want to go and put money into this game, it's actually better off putting money into buying H1Z1 or Battlegrounds. Why would you go and buy cosmetics in this game where you could go and spend that money on a better battle royale title? So I think the paid cosmetics in this game really has no purpose. And as a free-to-play title, I think it is a great game, but it fails in order to try to go and monetize it. And monetize this game in any way, shape, or form. I think the way it should have gone is legitimately like $1 or $2 or $3 game and go for that really, really low price point. Battlegrounds going for the high price point, H1Z1 going for the middle, this one go for the low. And for people that want to only pay $1 or $2, you can go and get in this and you can go and actually get some money out of it. Now, I completely forgot, but this game also has a first-person mode. Now, I'm not talking about first-person while aiming down sights. That's something a little bit different. I mean, like, you can legitimately press a button and you can go and play from an over-the-shoulder view to a first-person view. The first-person view, in my opinion, is pretty useless. Most of the time, you want to be playing at that third-person view, cranking your FOV all the way up to 90 so you can see as much of the map as possible. And the only time you would actually utilize a first-person view is when you're right-clicking, you're aiming down sights, and you're actually trying to go and get, you know, an accurate shot onto an enemy. Now, let's go and round out this review of Last Man Standing. I think if you don't have H1Z1, if you don't have PLAYERUNKNOW'S Battlegrounds, go and try this game. I think it's 10 gigs, so it's a bit of a hefty download, but it's something that may be worth a try, given that this game is legitimately just a break-off of a game called Shattered Skies, which is a complete failure of an MMO. The fact that the developers went and repurposed the game for a singular purpose, being a battle royale game, and the game is actually quite good. They use, obviously, all the assets from Shattered Skies, but they've done everything quite well. The out-of-game UI is great. The monetization system is great. There's basically no pay to win, because the only thing you can go and actually buy is cases, and that goes and gives you cosmetics. So overall, I am really, really impressed with this game, and I thought I wouldn't be impressed with this game. So if you guys want to go and download it, a link will be in the description below. It's not the best game in the world, but overall, it's still a game that I would go and try if you are free to play aficionado. But other than that, it's Undercover Dudes all the way from Down Under, out.